Hey everybody, Jay here at Auto Exotica in our Welsh Pool showroom. I hope you're having a fantastic week. It's Friday, what's not to love? And I just thought I would take a minute to show you around our latest prize draw, which is a racing simulator, much like our own one over there. It's also built by the good guys at Racecraft, and it is sat just next to the R31 Skyline there, which is a whole nother story. We'll go through that build very soon, hopefully. But for now, let's take a look at the rig and you can see a little bit what sim racing is all about. You can see it's built by the good people at Racecraft, and I tell you what, when these things are booted up, we get no work done around here whatsoever. It really is addictive. If you haven't tried sim racing, you really need to give it a go. As you can see, it comes loaded with gaming PC, 90 kg load cell pedals, and the beauty of those is that you really feel the resistance, especially in the brake pedal, and it makes it feel ultra realistic. Not only does it help your lap times, but it actually just adds to the realism of the thing. You really have to stomp on the brakes just like you would have to in a real road car smashing into a hard corner. It's all painted custom powder blue, which looks beautiful. It actually matches the velocity blue of the Mustang. There's an obvious hint there, but we'll go into that a little bit later. You've got the onboard audio pointed right at the driver. Of course, you've got the triple curved screens, giving you a really immersive field of view. And the beauty of that is when you're actually in the thick of it, you can actually start to look through corners just like you really need to in a real car going around a real track. You've got the direct drive wheel, which feels ultra realistic. There's no notchiness, and you can really dial up the resistance to make it a real firm ride and a real responsive ride. And it actually has quick release, customizable buttons, dials that you can set your traction control and your brake bias and things like that, and of course flappy paddles. From there, it's also got dual wind simulation, as you can see on the left. So the faster you go, the more wind you get coming through your virtual cabin, just like if you were in a real track car and had a ventilation port or had your windows open. We've got the LCD display, which just again adds to that level of immersion. You can actually customize this, which is really cool. You can add different skins through the app, which you can also customize to match the car you're in. If you've got your own car, you can match something that's as close a fit to your actual real deal. And of course, you've got all your things like your rev lights, your gear, your speed, your RPM, your lap times, all right there in front of you. And having it in front of you instead of on the screen means you can adjust the screen to be a little bit more realistic, a little less crowded, and it just adds to the immersion of the whole thing. Speaking of which, of course, we've got the carbon fiber Recaro race seat. Fiberglass, I should say, not carbon fiber. The other one's carbon fiber. We have the Sparco harnesses, which again is just a nice little fun attention to detail. Of course, you don't really have to wear a harness in the comfort of your own front room. And it's little things like the keyboard is mounted off the screens, which stay still. The rig moves, and in the other rig, the keyboard is mounted on the rig, so you hit a hard left handle on the North Shift and you lose your keyboard. And of course, last but by no means least, we have the all-important D-Box haptic feedback actuation system. So what that means is this whole platform tilts, dives, and reacts to what you're doing on the track, and it also reacts to all of the little nooks and crannies and loss of traction that you get on the track. So again, it just really adds to that level of immersion that you just don't simply get with a basic sort of setup like that. And of course, the whole name of the game really is just to simulate a real track day from the comfort of your own home or office or whatever. But the more realistic you get, the better driver you become, and for me, the more fun you have. So that's enough of me yammering around. I'm going to take it for a little spin around the North Shift, embarrass myself with my terrible driving, and you can just see what it's all about. Okay, so I'm going to give you a Jay's eye view of the rig in action. You can rip the piss out of my driving. It's going to be terrible. The last time I drove on the Nordschleife in Germany, was about 10 years ago, and it was in a Toyota Sora. So right now we're in a Lamborghini Huracan Evo, so it's a little bit different. But you'll at least get to see everything in action. Hopefully you can at least get a bit of a flavour just about how enjoyable it is and what it's all about. So we'll give it a spin. It's worth noting that the 7-speed shifter isn't on the rig at the moment, but it will be. So we'll take it for a drive. And first thing you notice is how smooth the wheel is. There's no notchiness, it feels very genuine. And of course you can dial up how much the wheel responds. So you can have strong haptic feedback where you literally have to press the wheel. That's how it's set at the moment. But if you've got a younger driver, you don't want to injure their thumbs, and you just want to, or maybe you just want a leisurely, entertaining drive, you can dial it right down so you don't work up a sweat as you drive. Of course, with left foot braking, which takes some getting used to, especially with the heavy pedals. And the real beauty of this thing is just how everything starts to work together. The D-box actuation system, it gives you just enough of a tilt to make you feel like you're diving into the brakes, and to make you feel that you're accelerating down the bends, and to make you feel like you're getting those G-forces around the corner. But I think what D-box do best is realise that you can't authentically replicate G-forces. It's just not possible. And what a lot of cheap motion systems do is they rely on really extreme movements, and it's just not genuine. It makes you feel seasick over the boat. Little dips catch you off guard, whole thing shakes, and yeah, it's just amazing how